Now cross over to business, and Abby, again, I understand that security firm Wells Fargo is not too good today.
Yeah, many thanks, Edith. There, as you said, over 50 workers of Wells Fargo Kenya, a security firm specializing in the financial sector, are on a go-slow. The workers from Nairobi have today paralyzed operations at their headquarters at the city. They demand better salary and working conditions, which they say have been in a wanting state for 2 years, and now efforts to settle the matters with the management have hit a dead end. While addressing the media, the management of Wells Fargo has, however, stated that the matter is internal and will be dealt with as per the company's policy.
I'm an employee of Wells Fargo. My wife is not an employee of Wells Fargo. Okay? So whenever you have domestic issues there, my wife akuje hapa, mimi nakuwa victimized na mfutwa. Kitu ingine kama sahi, I might be from a very well up family. Nikipewa gari nikuje nayo hapa, au naishi nyumba ya pesa mingi, wanasema mimi ni mwizi. So they are trying to match where I live, the car I drive, where I go during the weekends, where I go after job, in reference na ile mshahara napata hapa. Mtu akivutwa alipwi, ukigonjeka ulipwi, ukianguka ulipwi, ukiwa na issue ulipwi, kila kitu ulipwi, kila kitu ni kuwa victimized. Tukiitisha meeting, crisis meeting, inakuwa postponed mpaka tugome tena ndio tukua undressed.
Mpaka sasa imefika.
Mpaka hata jana it was not planned. Yesterday it was not even planned. Tulikuja hapa tukaanza kuongea pande, instead of our issues being addressed, tulifukuzwa nje.
Tuna deal mahali pako sensitive. Penye ukilipwa 25,000 unaweza ku attempt. Unaona millions of money, billions of money, lakini ukifikiria chenye unalipwa unakuta you are doing nothing.
So members of the press, I would request that you leave me with the technicians so that I can address them and deal with them, because this is an internal matter and we have not exhausted the machinery that is provided for within the labor laws. Thank you.
A question, sir, Mr.
Now, no questions. Let me deal with them. The questions can come later on.
Well, we'll be keeping an eye for you over that story, as our very own Charles Gitonga is following up on that story. And now it's time for a business chat segment. And with us in studio is Polycarp Igade, the chairman of the Petroleum Institute of East Africa, and also the MD of Vivo Energy. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And just straight into the interview, a lot has been happening on the oil front. And now that global oil prices have been falling by nearly a half, Kenyan's consumers are asking, when will they get to feel this impact when they go to the fuel stations?
Thank you for that question. I think what has been left out in the conversation around it, why fuel pump prices are not falling as drastically as a global crude oil price, is to explain to the consumer there's a difference between crude oil and petroleum, diesel, kerosene, which you find. You cannot put crude oil in your car today and drive. Crude oil must be refined. Sure. So there's a static cost there. So when crude oil falls 50%, I think it's overestimating the expectation to expect that prices at the fuel pump will drop 50%. I think what we have seen in Kenya is a 40% drop in crude oil price, and actually a 15, close to 20% drop in fuel pump price. So I think, with respect, ERC is doing a very good job in passing on that benefit to the consumer.
Because I asked this because if you look at the pump prices right now, a litre is retailing at about 102 shillings. And late last year it was retailing at about 108, around 110 there. People were hoping for a drop in the range of about 20 shillings. When are we likely to see this?
Actually, the price of fuel in August was 117 a litre.
Yeah.
Today it's 102. That is a 14.7% drop. And from the 102, if you allow me, this is how the price is constructed. It's a very open system. 2 shillings is the cost of transport. 4 shillings is the profit margin to the petrol station dealer. 7 shillings is the profit margin to the oil marketer. 29 shillings is taxes and duties. So you can see, if you add those numbers I've just given you now, you arrive at around, say, 42 shillings, if my addition is correct. The balance of that is the cost insurance freight of bringing refined product into our country. So I think if you are going to reduce costs, if people are going to see a further drop, our request will be to government to see whether it can live with less taxes. But I would not go that way, because we want taxation is good because it's giving us electricity, health, education. Teachers want more money. So I think when you fuel today, when you fuel 100 shillings into your car, 102, you should remember that 29 shillings goes straight to the government. Then 7 shillings and 4, which goes to the petrol station dealer and the oil marketer, that money is further taxed later on out of our profits as corporate taxation. So I think we have one of the best pricing formulas for fuel. And it's a fact today, I can tell you, as chairman of PIA, that the Kenyan consumer buys a litre of fuel cheaper than South Africa, cheaper than India, cheaper than the UK, and cheaper than very many other geographies. So if there's one thing our government is doing well, is the pricing policy on fuel, and they need to actually be encouraged, and we are all enjoying. I think going into the future we shall continue to enjoy the lower prices, and even we in oil marketing, as unbelievable as it may sound, we are celebrating the low prices because we are seeing consumers spending a lot more. We are getting more volumes because people are driving a lot more.
And maybe as we wind up, how significant will the price drops be, and what impact will this have basically for the big manufacturers as well, and also the consumers? Because you've tried to bring out the arithmetic around what it takes for the cost of a litre, but if you look at the average Kenyan, they know global oil prices are falling, and they feel that they're getting a raw deal at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the comfort I like to give the average Kenyan is a Swahili saying, chips sio waru. You know, potatoes are not chips. You have to eat chips. Well, crude oil is a potato, if you like. Chips is a processed product. If we will come to that conclusion. But I think it's fantastic for especially manufacturing, because we are starting to see inflation go down. So your salary and my salary is today enabled by savings. If you look from August, the price has dropped close to 117 to 102, it's almost 15 shillings. Yeah. I have 15 shillings more to spend on something else, or on another alternative. And I think for the first time we have seen the biggest move of local tourism into local Kenyans going into tourism destinations over the Christmas period. I think they were using some of the savings from fuel to do that. So, and I would like to encourage government to use this time when prices are coming down to find some shillings there to stabilize and create a stabilization fund, because as prices come down, remember, prices will still go up. Sure. Now, when they start going up, there'll be a lot of hue and cry. And I think very many other countries around Africa, they cushion the consumer by creating a stabilization fund. And that is created in an environment when prices are coming down. And perhaps our policymakers need to think about creating a stabilization fund, so when the prices swing back, we're able to protect the consumer. But let's all celebrate the low prices. It's good for the economy.
Well, many thanks for joining us, Polycarp Gade.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, a lot of insights coming out there in terms of what it takes for the prices to be determined. And I now hand you back to Edith Kimani for more news.